ladies and gentlemen. This is another one of my shows. Today we're not going to be doing a lot of cooking, but we're talking more about the mental health aspect of community gardening, well-being, and general good mental health. And my guests today are Brendon Marty from the Mentally Healthy City Townsville program.
G'day.
And the principal where I'm now working of Heatley Secondary College, Murray.
Hi there. Thank you,
How are
Ingolf.
you both, gentlemen?
Very well, thank you.
Very good, Ingolf. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming in and following through on discussions that Murray and I've had in the past about developing the community gardeners here at the school.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's just really exciting things are happening in the last few months. As I said, it's not a cooking show today. I've made something, but we'll have a bit of a nibble on that afterwards. But look forward to getting a bit more explanation on what Heatley's doing, and we'll go from there. So,
Great.
gentlemen,
Why don't you tell us about what you're doing here at the school, Murray, about well-being, and Ingolf mentioned a community garden.
Yeah, we've got a community garden. We've had one for some years down the back corner of the school. I would love to see it turn into a true community garden. I mean, at the moment it is certainly managed by staff and students, but when you think about the word community, that involves, for me, it involves the wider community. And I know having Ingolf here now as our canteen convener is fantastic. The food is brilliant, and we've got an opportunity now to really turn that into a way for our kids to be producing, and that's the aim, for them to produce some of the food that is now can go straight into the canteen and be sold in the canteen, which will be wonderful. So, health and well-being, and particularly mental health, is critical for our students and our staff.
Yeah, sure.
And and we need to do a number of things in regards to that. And one of them is, we know the impact that getting outdoors and spending time, I think, in gardens and with fresh air is really important, and that's a component of it. Another, we do lots of things here, and we need to for our community. You can see a poster on the back wall over there around the gratitude tree, and we engage with the North Queensland Cowboys and the NRL in the Resilience Project.
Yeah.
And that's new this year, and so that's an organised curriculum from Year 7 up, and that's delivered through HPE.
Yeah, excellent.
And that's really important for kids to be thinking about their own mental health and how they develop this resilience attitude to life. And we know the kids that are resilient are happy and successful, and their mental health tends to be pretty good.
Absolutely. So, with the community garden, obviously they're seeing it from start to finish, right? You mentioned they get to look at where the food comes from, and they prepare it themselves under your guidance, Ingolf, I'm sure.
Yes.
And they get to eat the food afterwards.
So the kids work with the teacher at the moment to build the garden bed, the full scope down there. So they build the garden beds, they mulch the garden beds, they irrigate it, they turn it over, they grow the crops, they plan the design of it, everything. So, now with Ingolf on board, there's that real capacity, I think, to look at our different types of herb gardens and all sorts of things that can then move across to the canteen and be sold there.
I guess it really highlights the importance of food waste as well. And that gratitude you mentioned from the Resilience Project, and what that teaches, that the food that you've grown, you put more of an emotional attachment to it. You don't want to waste it, don't you?
Absolutely, there is an ownership there.
Sustainability is really important too, Ingolf, and I look at the opportunity too. If there's any leftovers, fruit and veggies, scraps, that sort of thing. Imagine if we could one day have some chickens in there as well, and produce our own eggs. It's a fully fenced area. It's quite a secure area. To have kids then looking after and tending animals and doing those things would be great. As a little mini farm in a well-controlled area, and as well one day opening it up to the community that says, he can sign in. You might have a community garden coordinator, which I've seen in the past. Someone's responsible for opening it at certain times of a weekend, and the community can come in and grow. Might grow their own crops as well.
Yes.
And whether that's for their own use or contributing to the school or the wider community, that would be fantastic also.
That also allows further programs to happen as well. The parents and the community gets more involved in the school and what the kids are doing, and they take a little bit home with them, So it's not just the school area where the kids get to learn all this stuff. It might transfer into the home as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Murray, you mentioned earlier about the Wellbeing Wednesday, And we actually do a Wellbeing Wednesday ourselves, which is, I think, just must be the moniker. It's a really good catchphrase, right?
Yeah,
So,
good catchphrase.
can you go into a little more detail about, obviously we've spoken about the kids and their engagement in wellbeing, but that connection from the kids through to the teachers and how it's supporting your staff?
Yeah, I mean, we all know how hard teachers work, and over the last couple of years here, our Wednesdays were spent. So we finished school earlier on a Wednesday, just after 2 o'clock, and we would have traditionally gone into team meetings for an hour and a half, collaborative sessions, where staff work together on planning. We've now shifted that to a Monday afternoon, but what that has done is allowed Wednesday to become Wellbeing Wednesday. And we're encouraging teachers to, leave school, don't spend the afternoon here, but, take a break, do something for yourself. Go and enjoy our beautiful climate up here in Townsville, get out and do some gardening, go and play golf, go and walk the river. Last week we had a whole staff yoga session organised here at school, so a whole range of activities that help staff wellbeing, and that mental health capacity component of it as well.
Excellent.
We do have a wellbeing health and wellbeing committee here at the college, and that's led by Diana Millard, who's our business manager.
Okay.
And there's a number of staff that sit on that group, and recently completed a survey to find out people's health needs, some of their habits, what they eat. Exercise routines, and that's going to be used then to form our action plan for staff. And we'll be working closely with the regional office wellbeing coach to develop that. So,
excellent.
Yeah, so that's what Wellbeing Wednesdays are all about. And I mean, there'll be the capacity too to have the community garden contribute to that. And we already have staff, like I said, work with the kids, but staff working with staff and maybe staff engaging the wider community. I think too, Ingolf, there's the capacity to recognise our Indigenous cultures.
Absolutely.
And and have an Indigenous bush garden. Up there where we've got some of those native plants that we're growing, and perhaps engage with our Woolgarukaba elders. This is the land of the Woolgarukaba people, and to be able to tap into our elders and that sort of knowledge to have a bush garden as well.
It's really nice to hear a local school doing that here. But obviously, Mentally Healthy City started in Townsville for Australia. It's first in the country here, and just to see local schools doing their own thing with mental health and wellbeing it's really nice. Like, it is really nice for us to see.
It's good. Being in charge of your own health and wellbeing, and particularly your mental health, is something that we can all do. So,
and we found that Townsville's very accepting of these sorts of initiatives and these programs, and it's a glaring difference from when I was a kid in terms of stigma around mental health.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the kids are starting to like the new food that's being put out there. They love the idea of the garden. They get on board these programs. How are they, embracing what the school's doing for health and wellbeing?
Oh, they're embracing it, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, so we're going through a bit of a facility revamp at the moment too. Yeah. So we got a lot of funding from the Renewing Our Schools scheme, so state government funding, about $12 million. So,
excellent.
And the first part that we did was this block here that we're sitting in. So this actually used to be an old home ec kitchen through here, largely unused for many years.
Room to have this
we used to have one guidance officer in the school and one youth support coordinator. So what we've created now is a wellbeing hub downstairs that opens up onto the beautiful courtyard outside. So with that has come a relaunch of all things that engage kids in the life of their school, which is all about feeling good, and that well-being. So music is played now at lunch times. They've now got 3 guidance officers to see downstairs. We've got a head of student wellbeing now for the first time. We've got 2 youth support coordinators, and we've now got a school nurse that we haven't had for a little while as well. So our allocation, we've always had an allocation, but we're unable to find someone, and we've now got Tanya in as our school nurse, and it's great to have her here. So we've got a whole range of support. And the other thing this block's enabled us to do in the planning, I wanted the capacity up here and there's a couple of offices down the end, to bring in a GP, at least 1 day a week, for our kids, and set up a partnership with Headspace. And so the Headspace relationship is developing nicely, and we aim to have that in place at the start of next year with an MOU. And I would love to get a GP in here as well, and help our kids access the health that they need to seek.
No, that all sounds excellent. And between both of you, with what's happening in the food side and the school side and the structure and everything like that, it sounds like you're going from end to end. Like, you're doing the prevention whilst also working in the middle ground there, and trying to set up for those cases that may occur throughout school life, you know?
Yeah, and just catering for the diversity of it is a really diverse community, our school community, and you know, whilst Riverway mightn't seem very far away, you know, many of our kids don't go up there to access, you know, the mental health support that they need through someone like Headspace.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
for us to have a relationship with them where they actually have their, you know, practitioners in here, and our kids can access a Headspace practitioner during their normal school day, and then get back to their schoolwork is fantastic. So, you know, we're really excited by that, and you know, aim to have that in place for next year, like I said. So,
Excellent. I'd love to revisit and see how it's going
Yeah.
down the track.